Ladies and gentlemen, Mollusk here, bringing you another quick Guild Ball match highlight. And in a shocking state of affairs, I am playing Theron, not Scather, as hunters take on Union. Feel a bit like I'm betraying my Snow Queen, but I haven't played a game with Theron yet. This is my first one, and I'm kind of curious to see how he plays. So let's take him for a spin. For terrain, we have got 4 obstacles and a forest. I lost the roll and Union chose to receive, so I'm kicking with Fahad, Jakar, Theron with the ball, Zorola, Original Hearn, and Veteran Minx. And on opposing us, we've got Mist, Decimate, Pride, Hemlock, Gutter, and Seasoned Brisket. You might be able to see from my deployment that I don't really have a good idea about what I'm doing with this team, but it seems to me to be the most generically strong Hunters squad build. What I want is for all 3 of the Blessing of the Sunfather models to hang around and support each other. And as Theron and Hearn both really want to use theirs on themselves, Veteran Minx, I think, is the candidate to give it to Zorola to get her play for free, more or less. So I'm sort of questioning the wisdom here in putting them so far apart. So what I'm thinking is that I want Theron to go up and kick, and then he'll be able to move and generate some momentum by shooting stuff. Hearn, he'll drop a forest for Hearn to go up, and then hopefully Hearn late in the turn can go and earn me some momentum. I want Zorola to move Jakar up so that he can go and attack things and get momentum, or pull Theron back if he gets into trouble. And I placed myself on this side because I want to be able to use that forest as a jumping option for Hearn to spread out more if I need to. Whereas if I go around this side, then I'm sort of locked into using that forest, and I have to wait for Theron to activate to put a forest out to the side to get that kind of jumping flexibility. But I'm looking at this and sort of regretting it now. Waiting this side and kicking off using the forest to slow down whoever comes to collect the ball would probably have been a better plan. There's my match play cards. So I've got keep your chin up, sell it to the crowd, fullback or fullbacks or whatever one that makes the charge cheaper, seize the initiative, great, and grudge match. I move up with Theron, kick short just over the line, and the ball scatters where you see. I think that's pretty much good enough, and leave it at that. I don't usually discuss allocation because it takes too long, but as this is my first time with Theron, sort of wondering what the best way to do this is. So I've got 4 on Theron, 4 on Jakar, 2 on Zorola, and 2 on Original Hearn. My instinct is that you probably want none on Zorola, 5 on Theron, and 3 on Hearn, and be fairly safe in the knowledge that Sunstrike's going to generate you some momentum to put Blessing on Zorola so she can do her stuff. But in this case, I just sort of had the feeling I would fuck it up, so I put 2 on Zorola just for insurance. As we can see, Mist moved up, collected the ball, passed it back to Decimate, and got himself into cover and put down a smoke bomb because he had an extra influence, and why not? I just jog up with Fahad, getting into threat range for next turn. Decimate tries to pass to the Lion, and it scatters hilariously badly, into the middle, towards the mid-table, and tantalizingly within range of Theron to just run in and get it. And this is not at all the plan. I want to stay back, shooting and damaging models and getting momentum up so I can go first next turn, but it's so hard to pass that opportunity up. Theron isn't in range to sprint and take a shot, but I could run in, grab the ball, beat Decimate to dodge into range and take the shot, or what I'm actually thinking of doing is run in, beat on Decimate for some damage, and just kick the ball back to my team and to safety. Something deep in my gut is telling me that I shouldn't do this, but it seems like too good an opportunity to pass up, and stroll right on into a counter charge. Get knocked down, and the ball unfortunately does not scatter favourably for me and is still well within the Union's possession. I obviously didn't measure the distance because I wasn't thinking about this, but I even wonder if it would have been possible to stay out of the countercharge range and still collect the ball. Probably not. As it is, I'm knocked down, I've got no momentum and can't stand up, so Theron ends his activation. Not a good start. So as the Union team close in on Theron, thankfully they didn't get much influence and so don't do much to him. Hearn moves in to support his body. Thankfully I had the presence of mind to put the forest within 8 inches of him, and so he singles out Decimate, and I must have the old Hearn card because my singled out play is not momentous, and I've checked and I think the update is. So I should have generated more momentum than I did from this, and maybe been able to stand Theron up, but never mind. So yeah, bit of damage on Decimate, bit of single out. The Union have passed the ball to Brisket. I've moved Minx up and put a trap down just in case, but really I'm pretty sure Brisket's going to get through and score, and I just want Minx advanced up a little bit and in position to give me options next turn in terms of diving forward into the fray or trying to pin Brisket. Zarola uses Midnight Offering to move J-Car up the field, and this is just so good. Every time I bring her and use this, I am reminded why she's always in my team. Because in this disappointingly blurry picture, Brisket goes running the whole length of the pitch into tap-in range. My opponent did consider bonus timing this because his dice rolls are a thing of legend, but needing a 2 on 3 dice, I think he was right to take the risk, taking the shot, slotting it away. Union on 4 points, and I kick the ball back out over here. The scatter is pretty favourable as it lands pretty much directly in front of J-Car, who snags it on his charge by into Decimate. Thanks to the singled out, I wrap and get, I think, momentous 6 damage, dodging out, not quite into tap in, drop my trap to be annoying, and slot away the snapback goal. 4 points to the Hunters. I then use his Back to the Shadows just to get into position to threaten Mist or get back into this scrum. I saved my momentum. I think I'm on 2 to my opponent's 4. I really should have spent that to stand Theron up. Conceding that I'm probably not going to get the initiative if my opponent wants it, I decide to go with Keep Your Chin Up. Hopefully I can use it to get Theron up of his ass. And my opponent goes for, I think, something that gives Gutter extra tack. Ominous. Oh, I should say that the Union's goal kick was a bit risky. They kicked it out over here and it scattered bang on Fahad, which was quite nice. So again, influence allocation, just dwell on this. So I was considering having Zarola Midnight Offering Fahad up and then he could sprint to take the shot with linked, but I'd need some way of generating momentum. I don't really fancy my chances of charging and bouncing off far enough to get into range. And the cat's countercharge aura is still active because I'm not engaging him. So I decided to put nothing on Zarola, 1 on Fahad in case he gets the opportunity to try to pass it, and then stack the rest up on my big hitters. If I'd had a bit more respect for Gutter, maybe I wouldn't put quite so much on Theron, because my opponent activates her first. She goes in on attacking Theron. He's double crowded out, although Hearn is crowding out Gutter. And oh man, does she hit hard. So yeah, so I get scything blowed a lot. And thanks to a lucky last attack flub from Gutter, Theron is still left standing on 2 wounds. And I think Hearn has got 11 wounds left. I mean, she did a lot of damage, credit to her. So I'm sort of forced to go with Theron rather than moving the ball, because otherwise he's just going to die and I'm going to lose all that influence. So he uses his movement to stand up, uses my momentum to heal himself so that he won't just die to a counterattack. And then thanks to a bit of dodging, a bit of snaring, a bit of support from Hearn, and a lot of bonus timing, he takes down Decimate as I just remember to use Blessing of the Sunfather on himself to stick an arrow in her knee at the last second. So Hunters on 6 points and lots of lovely momentum. Mist goes in on Fahad, slightly unwisely declaring a charge, which allows me to defensive stance, but manages to make that one important success to get the tackle. acrobatics around, sinks the goal, Union on 8 points, and then gets back into cover, engaging Fahad, like a little bitch. I kick out to the same nice safe spot, the ball scatters, not too bad again, and I've got several options for what to do with it. Something I didn't spot at the time, which could have been interesting, would have been to forest hop Hearn over to collect it, sprint and take another shot. I could have just run Fahad away from mist and then tried to pass it to somebody, or just nimble and try to save it for next turn. In the end, I made what I think was the correct decision, was to go up with Veteran Minx and claim it. I put the trap on this side because I think Hemlock hadn't activated and I wondered if she could maybe slip through and try to get it off me. I didn't think Brisket could get to me, but now I'm not quite sure if she'd sprinted and then root wand or something. But I thought my other trap might snag her on the way, and then it's 5-1 and she's in cover and she'll be crowded out. So I'm fairly happy it's safe. And all importantly, I use Blessing to put it on Zerola. And I managed to remember to use my plot card to heal Theron without costing me any momentum. So he's back to being somewhat healthy. Can't remember what Hemlock did in the end, but she ended up triggering J-Car's trap and getting out of the way, which was helpful, allowing J-Car to run or just walk in to the Lion, not getting the counter charge, hitting the Lion and dodging off into Gutter, doing a bit of damage, gut and stringing her, and then putting down a new trap, and back to the shadowing away to engage the Lion, because I learnt my lesson hard. And Veteran Minx would really rather not have to deal with charging lions. As Zerola goes, Midnight Offerings her up into a nice and ready place to take the goal next turn after I finish dealing with Gutter. Which Hearn does, following a knockdown and then a bit of bonus timing, and remembering to use Blessing of the Sunfather on myself to put in that final bit of damage to take her out. Hunters on 8. Union on 8. As Zerola has unpredictable movement and Brisket doesn't have a viable dodge, there ain't a lot she can really do, except just move back into a position around here and Zerola dodges away. I'm up by 3 or 4 momentum at this point, my opponent has nothing. And things are looking pretty good at this point, and I just decided to waver Fahad's activation. Really I should have just walked him away from mist. I don't think there's any counter or there's any parting blows I care about. And just set up somewhere that he can be useful. Yeah, heaven forbid I should miss that goal. Going into turn 3, my opponent plays Lone Striker, and as I don't need to play my 7 and I like the board state as it is and don't want anyone dodging around, I play Grudge Match, which would have been really good actually if I'd remembered to apply the effect. I take the initiative, load up Minx, J-Car and Theron. Skit happens, walks, Decimate and Gutter back onto the pitch, desperately trying to block my shot lanes. Minx casually strolls up to Pride, who's being tamed by J-Car. I guess I couldn't have grudge matched, what's his face? Pride. Or Decimate, because I think you apply it before they come back onto the pitch. So maybe the grudge match didn't matter. Minx beats on the cat for 6 momentous damage, drops the trap as a bit of insurance, should this strike go awry, and then takes the bonus time to tap in, which is being obstructed by Decimate. And it's a goal! 12 to the Hunters, 8 to the Union. Really great game, really quick game. Points flying absolutely everywhere. And what can I say but wow, Theron is a completely different beast to Scatha. I played the first turn pretty terribly. Got really quite lucky that Theron didn't go down to Gutter or someone else in the opening of turn 2. And my opponent had some pretty unlucky scatters that put the ball in convenient positions for me. But Zerola slingshotting my ball players, and once Theron got his feet back under him, the tag team of Theron and Hearn, and obviously J-Car, holding the scrum in the centre that was really solid. I can see why people like Theron. And with that, I'll leave you. Many thanks to my opponent. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.